Dave Aronberg, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Looks like you've got a Democratic primary at least against Dan Gelber, possibly Rod Smith. We'll see. So why is it that you think Dan Gelber is a moron who has no business running for statewide office?
No, I'm looking forward to a good race. I think it's good to have a primary, as long as it's not a nasty, destructive primary. I think primaries can be good. It makes us hone our message better. It energizes the base. But obviously I wouldn't be in this race if I didn't think I was the best candidate. I think I'm the best candidate because I'll be the only one in this race on either side of the aisle who will have worked in the Attorney General's office. I was an Assistant Attorney General under Bob Butterworth for economic crime. I went after consumer fraud, and that's going to be a big issue in this campaign when we're dealing with such an economic crisis, affecting all taxpayers, homeowners, consumers. A second reason is that this is not a job. This is a passion for me. This is the only position I've ever been interested in running for as far as higher office goes. It's not a stepping stone or a fallback position. This is something where no one will outwork me because I really believe in this, just to the core of my being. And then finally, I think I'm really electable because my district goes into Southwest Florida, which is a traditionally red area, and I do very well there. And especially if the nominee is Jeff Kottkamp, I think I will force him to compete in his hometown. And I think if you look at the district, it gives me a great base to run statewide from. I'm used to having tough general election campaigns against Republicans. I'm battle-hardened and I'm ready to win.
It's a fair guess that the Gelber people are going to make a big issue out of resumes. He's been a courtroom lawyer, a federal prosecutor. Rod Smith, if he gets in, he's got a heck of a lot of courtroom experience. You spent little or no time in a court. Doesn't that make him more qualified as Attorney General?
How many cases did Bill McCollum try as Attorney General? How many cases did Charlie Crist try? Bob Butterworth? To be an effective Attorney General, you have to have the right priorities. You have to be the right manager. You have to know the office. It's not who the best courtroom lawyer is. It's not who's just an AV-rated lawyer versus someone who's not an AV-rated lawyer. That's not what qualifies you to be the best Attorney General.
Do you have a rating, a peer review
No,
rating?
I do not.
Let's talk about a couple significant or controversial pieces of legislation this last session where you and Gelber were on opposite sides. One, 360, the growth management bill, trashed by virtually every environmentalist. Another, the corporate tax credit for vouchers. Gelber voted against it, you voted for it. Is that going to be a problem for you in Democratic primary?
I think that if you explain the issues, I think that the voters are sophisticated enough to understand them, that it's not going to be just about a bumper sticker. I think, maybe have a disadvantage when it comes to a bumper sticker, but when you explain them, you explain the votes, and you look at the totality of our records, I think you'll see that I match up very well, especially with the environmental bill. I have a lot of environmental credentials. I was the chair of the Everglades Committee, and 360 had some good things in it, especially when it comes to mass transit, and we were not lobbied heavily on it. In fact, I was not lobbied against 360 when it came before me, and it didn't come before any of my committees. And there's good and bad in it, and if you look at it, most of the Democrats voted for it, just like I did.
Who is the greatest rock and roll band in history?
There's no question. Do you have to ask me that? It's
I'm
Rush.
asking.
Geddy Lee, Alex Lifeson, and Neil Peart. I hope that there will be a lot of your...
Rush is the greatest rock and roll band in history.
Well, they
This is
obviously
a dangerous
are.
statement.
No, they are. They're the greatest rock and roll band of all time. I think that it is crazy that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I think that is a miscarriage of justice.
A bold statement. Thank you, Dave Aronberg.